Welcome to the Troy Kearns podcast. We discuss real estate investing, entrepreneurship, and business to help you retire and become financially free. Make sure you share this podcast with someone who could benefit from it and leave us a 5-star review. It truly helps me out. This show will mentor you towards financial freedom. If I can do it, so can you.
Welcome to the Troy Kearns podcast. Today I've got an amazing guest, one of my best friends from Las Vegas. I met this guy when he was shredded, looking like Lex Luthor on 10 times the amount of steroids, at a pool party, instantly had an immediate connection. Throughout the last 20 years, I've really gotten to know him as a person. He's one of the guys I trust the most. He's a well-respected leader in the Las Vegas community. He's a luxury flipper. He also loans hundreds of millions of dollars to everybody who's looking to fix and flip houses and get other funding through his established venture of Max Capital. Jason, good to have you back.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
No intro says you're fat now and used to be shredded like that one.
No, I said you were shredded, man, and you're on your way back. You didn't catch that part. You're on your way back. No, I didn't say the word fat. I just think that you like, when I first met you, I was telling you that on the golf course yesterday. I was like, dude, was that the best shape of your life? And you're like, absolutely. I mean, when 100%. I met him, it was in Miami at the pool or someplace like that. And I've gotten to know Jason over the years. He has transformed. He was one of the top agents in Las Vegas. He then became one of the top luxury flipper. He's invented markets. Everybody's followed where he goes. So he's a trailblazer. So one of the things we wanted to talk about today is the fact that, first I want to establish him as an authority on capital and on what he does for his loans. So Jason, talk to me about, like, when did you start luxury flipping?
Oh God, it had to be 5-6 years ago, was when we did our first one in Roma Hills.
Right. And since then, you identified, and when did you decide, like, you were an REO? Talk to people what REO is.
So REO is a foreclosure business for brokers. Obviously, you know that when a bank takes back a property, they sell it. His REO stands for real estate owned, meaning real estate owned by the bank.
Right.
And the bank would hire brokers to then list the property and sell it. And I was one of those brokers, and we were selling anywhere between 600 and 900 houses a year.
600 and 900 houses a year. You were one of the top dogs. You invested wisely in those relationships, and you cultivated those relationships.
For sure.
Can you tell me what you first told me? Like, do you remember what you first told me? I don't know if you do. So I was trying to get Wells Fargo account. You had already had it. Do you remember what you told me now?
Sure. I mean, we had a relationship. We've been fortunate in our real estate career before REO, and we had a banking relationship with Wells Fargo Wealth Management. So when the REO cycle came around and Wells Fargo wanted to hire brokers, we used our relationships that we had prior to that.
Cool. And so you're good at leverage.
For sure.
He didn't cut to the chase, but Jason leverages relationships. And that's why how much money have you guys been able to secure for your funding company, for your mortgage company?
So we loan out currently about $100 million a month.
$100 million a month.
Correct. And that's between fix and flip financing, new construction financing, which is really what sets us apart, and DSCR as well, rental financing.
Yeah, and DSCR has become such a thing. Like, when I first started coaching people, they're like, I need a DSCR loan. I'm like, the hell's that? Right. It's just a rental loan, right? We got all these house hacking and just rent out my rooms. So you were actually one of my first guests on my podcast too. Like, how many years ago?
4 years ago, bro.
About 4 years ago.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like you built a huge following since then.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were doing, but I'm a committed guy. Once I get into something, I stick with it.
Troy's a grinder. For anybody who doesn't know, nobody knows how to grind like Troy. He takes his hammer and just hits it down every single time.
And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing, because you got to know when to quit too sometimes. But it served me well in a lot of different ways.
For sure.
Yeah, and you're a grinder as well. Like, so I wanted to talk about, you've changed so much in the last 5 years, and probably the last 11 years, because you didn't have a child, and that changes you as a man. You now have your wife here. You now have Ari's here. He's in the background here.
Yeah.
Checking everything out for us. He's been hanging out. And you have a second son. And so...
Max. Yeah.
Yeah, Max. And you've built a family, become a family man. Your priorities are different now.
Way different.
Way different than they were before. You used to be called Johnny Vegas. You got in every club in Las Vegas. You're someone that... Anytime I have something I want to run by somebody that I know I'm going to get friendship advice, you're one of my first phone calls. And
Same.
yeah, I appreciate that. And one of the things that I've seen you change on is you've become probably the number one luxury flipper in Las Vegas. Talk to us about that journey.
Well, it's interesting, you know, whenever someone says the number one, it depends, right? Like there's certainly guys that do more than I do. But I don't think that there's anybody that does it as good as we do. And I think it's because we look at our projects differently. We look at the neighborhoods that we're going into differently. We don't just change the finishes and move on. I mean, you know, a lot of the homes that we're buying to flip, you know, they were built in the mid to late 1980s, or they were built in the 1990s, and the floor plans and the needs and desires for the people who lived in those homes were different at that time. There were a lot of small closed-in rooms. There were no pocket doors. There were no anything like that. So we had to get into what we wanted to do is we wanted to show people that the more established neighborhoods still had value, and that people would want to move in there if they didn't have to move into an old house. So we would buy these old houses, and we would hire an architect, and we would hire an engineer, and we just reimagined the structure that was already there. Generally, we would only leave one or two walls untouched, and then the entire rest of the house gets the hammer. And we new electrical, new plumbing, new HVAC. A lot of times we put on a brand new roof. And then that way, when the buyer comes back and they're moving into the more established neighborhoods, which don't have the water restrictions in Las Vegas that some of the newer neighborhoods do, they're moving into this lush, green, established, beautiful neighborhood, and they get a home that's updated and what a buyer of today would want.
So I remember the first one that you really did. I know that like there's other ones that I didn't see, like the Roma Hills and the Las Vegas Country Club one.
Sure.
But the first one I saw in Spanish Trail was going to be your primary. And then I saw you move in, and then all of a sudden you're tearing out the floor and you're putting in new footings. And now since then, I've seen you level up and level up and level up and level up. And these are not small flips. This isn't like get in there, put some paint in there, change the kitchen. I mean, you're changing, not only are you changing the floor plan, sometimes you're building pools, sometimes you're changing the pools, sometimes you're set, you know luxury like nobody knows luxury. Jason creates markets, and that's when I said he's number one. There's other guys that can go and flip multi-million-dollar properties, but they don't change the market. You get prices that other guys never see.
Well, I think there's always a market for the best, right? Whether the market is going up or the market is going down, there is always someone who wants the best product in whatever market that's in. So even as the market would go down, even if you're not getting the price that you want, the deal that's going to get negotiated is the best house. It's not the worst house. So we just feel like if we keep building the best, no matter what happens to the market, somebody's going to come to us and want to buy.
And I remember speaking to you during COVID, and I said, I'm nervous, get out for you. And you were like, hey, you know what?
We doubled down.
Yeah, he goes, I don't feel that way. And he was convicted. He was a man of conviction. Like me, I'm looking at that much debt. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to risk it. And Jason's like, no, I'm all in. I think the market's solid. I don't think people are going to do that. And some of these flips, they don't take 6 months. What's your average time from...
I mean, we're over a year on most of them. We're over a year.
And what's your average profit?
We look to make $1 million on every house, at least.
Yeah, at least. So what's the most amount of money you've made?
2.
I don't think anybody cares about the least.
2.
$2 million. So tell me about your most exciting flip, and if you can, drop us an address so that people can come look at it.
You know, they're all exciting, I think, because there's a lot of creativity that goes into them. I mean, the one that I think that comes to mind right away would probably be, well, there's two that come to mind right away. One would be 11 Princeville. That was a property that we did with my father in conjunction with my father, which was, so it was really special for me to work with my dad on it. And the entire time I told him I wanted a murdered out kitchen. I wanted an all black kitchen, and it kind of freaked him out, you know. And if anybody was going to be on board with that, it's my dad. Like, he is Mr. Contemporary Design, Mr. Contemporary Architecture, gray floors, white walls. That's all he wants to see in a house. But when I told him that we were going to do this all black kitchen, you know, even he was like, "Hey, what do you mean we're going to do an all black kitchen?" And in the end, it turned out spectacular. And the day we put it on the market, I probably got 20 calls from agents and friends like you that were, I mean, blown away by the kitchen. They had never seen anything like it before. The pictures are online. You know, everybody can go.
And that's 11 Princeville.
11 Princeville, yeah.
Now, you've got one of the most expensive listings that you've ever flipped right now.
Right. The most expensive that I've ever done. I bought a house in Sheldon and Miriam Adelson and Dana White's neighborhood, and we're on the market right now for $7.5 million. We just got on the market about 2 weeks ago, and we think we're gonna.
What's the address on that one?
That one's 1429 Iron Hills.
And what does that typically get you? You know, I almost bought a house on Iron Hills. I wonder if it's the same one. Did it used to have a pool in the back that was like a circle with a little thing on top? Is it one street back from Ramparts here, and then it goes Iron Hills?
I thought the house that you were going to buy was on Champion Hills.
It was.
I remember the two-story house.
It
was on Champion Hills, the one that you were going to buy. I drive by the house all the time.
Is it still for sale?
No.
Somebody bought it?
Yeah.
Did I miss on that one?
I think you did.
Yeah, I might have. I got check. It was 1.8 is what I could pay for.
I drive by the house all the time. It still has the green trim around the windows.
Yeah, it had like a porte cochere.
Yeah, everything.
I mean, I could have got that. Was a little chicken on that one. $1.8 million.
Yeah. You could see Rampart from the house.
Yeah, that's the thing I did like about it.
Yeah, Champion Hills.
Is that because that's not as good as a street, right?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of really amazing houses on that street. Let's put it like this. You certainly wouldn't have lost any money on that.
Yeah, there was a couple like that. Eagle Hills, I had another.
You were going to pay 1.8. I would say that house today is probably worth 4.5 to 5 without touching it.
All right, don't tell me that again. Yeah, no, but the thing is, you think my wife Ian's going to not touch it?
No, she's going to touch it.
Yeah.
She has fabulous style. Why wouldn't she touch it?
That's right. So, okay, you got into the capital raising, you got into the financing of other people's deals because you needed this need yourself. And your wife has been phenomenal.
It's all because of her. So, okay. I mean, let's just be clear. Like, I could not have done any of this luxury flipping without her. You know, when we first started flipping houses, you and I flipped basically the same type of properties. You know, I think my first one was 6575 Copperfield.
Okay.
That was my first flip. And I think I sold that for like $133,000.
Oh, yeah. It's right in my ballpark.
Right. And then the next house, you know, we affectionately called the cat piss house because the lady that lived there, you know, she had like 12 cats and 5 dogs, and it was like a pet cemetery in the backyard. So those are the houses that we started with. And we had private financing at that time. We had found an investor that knew me through the real estate business. He knew that I knew how to find deals. And he said, hey, let's partner. You do the deals, I'll be the money, and we'll just have a great relationship. And we did. For 5 or 6 years, we had a really fantastic relationship. And as we wanted to start getting into higher price ranges, you know, there just wasn't that level of comfortability on his part. So my wife started looking for other options. She got us with a family shop out of California, and they really put a turbocharger to our business. And then family shop is just a group of families, basically, or a single family that chooses to invest their money in different areas, and they legally, with different corporations and trust account, they format themselves to be able to do that. It's not like a
Yeah, no, everybody
not
wants
like
a family
right.
office.
Right, for sure.
Everybody wants a family office because that's where families pull their money together and they got lots of money.
Totally. So my wife went ahead and she, through her connection, she was able to do that. And then again, we wanted to level up and start doing the higher price range properties. And again, they were committed. The bulk of their money was committed in other areas, and they couldn't do it. So there was a house, 11 Sawgrass in Spanish Trail, that was basically the first one that we were going to do without them. And my wife and I used to be in a business where we would trade defaulting notes with several companies around the country. A defaulting mortgage note is obviously a mortgage note that the owner of the home has stopped paying on, but the bank hasn't foreclosed it. So sometimes, rather than foreclosing on it, they just sell the note, and we would buy it, and retrade it, or
what do those trade for, like percentages wise? Because it's always like a LTV, or is it based on the outstanding loan balance?
It's generally done on the outstanding loan balance. But my wife and I, we got out of that business when it just got to be too high. When we first started in it, we were able to buy properties 52, 56 cents on the dollar.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they started trading at the same price that
of the outstanding balance.
Right.
So if the outstanding balance is $100,000, they'd sell it for $52,000.
Right. And then sometimes they started trading for a percentage of market value, or they started trading for a percentage of the unpaid principal balance that was so high that we might as well have just waited for them to foreclose on the property and do all of the hard stuff, that's where the hard stuff comes in, is the foreclosing on the property.
Real quick, what were your exit strategies on those types of properties? I'm assuming you're buying them all throughout the country.
The notes?
Yes.
So it would depend on the note itself and the area. It depends how we would like the deal. Sometimes we would choose to get them reperforming. We would say, okay, we bought this at enough of a discount where we could go to the homeowner. This is really our preference. This was our preference, was we could go to the homeowner and say, hey, listen, you owed 200, we paid 100. What if I drop your mortgage down to 150, 130, something like that, and can I get you to start repaying? And then we would get them to the point where they would repay. We could hold on to that for 6 months, and then we retrade the note. That's one. Or, let's say it was vacant and the people were just unreachable or whatever, we could foreclose on it. Then we could sell it as an REO, or we could do the rehab ourselves. And I mean, there's 100 different things that you can do.
Yeah, it's like real estate, because you're essentially owning the real estate with a note that you bought. And so you either can foreclose, you can do a short sale, you can do a number of things that you could do. Were those all throughout the country?
They were.
Okay.
They were.
So,
and there's a lot of intricacies in there. If you don't know that business, I suggest you do a lot of research before you start buying.
Yeah, because every state's got a different law. There's redemption periods. There's
for sure
all things. So, what attracted you to raising capital and doing hard money? And for those people who are listening to the show and have never heard of hard money, can you break it down like I'm a 5-year-old?
Sure. So there's a lot of different ways to describe hard money, but a hard money loan is generally an asset-based loan based solely on the property itself. Generally, it's done by a local lender in that market who charges, say, 3 points up front and 14, 15 to 17% interest.
What's a point if I don't know?
So it's a percentage of the loan amount.
So if I'm getting a $100,000 loan, they're going to charge me $3,000 to $4,000 just for doing the loan.
Correct.
And then origination fees.
Well, that is the origination fee, and then there'll be other like fees on top of that, processing fees and things like that, and then they'll charge you the annual interest rate as well.
How is the debt amortized? How is it spread out? Do I make interest plus principal payments, or?
So on these type of loans, you would never want to do a principal and interest loan. You would want to it's a short-term loan. These are only meant to be out for no more than a year.
Right.
You would want the lowest payment possible. You would never want to start mixing in an amortized principal payment.
But I thought that because I am buying a loan or I'm buying a property, don't I always want to pay down my principal?
Well, it depends. So if you're fixing and flipping the property, unless you're doing what I'm doing and you're operating in the multi-million-dollar space, you're going to be in and out of that asset in 3 months. Generally, in a mortgage, like if you look at 30-year amortized mortgage, if you look at the amount of principal that you pay off in your first year, it's like next to nothing.
Right.
So why would you want to give yourself the higher payment if you don't have to?
I agree. I'm just asking questions I obviously know the answers to, but I'm trying to get everybody to understand. I was telling you the other day, we need to break this down like they've never done it, because
Right, totally.
I mean, how many homes have you bought and sold?
Oh, we're well into the 400, 500.
No, I'm talking about as a realtor, bought and sold.
So at one time, about 7 years ago, my wife counted, and we were north of 7,500.
7,500 homes. So sometimes guys like us that I've bought and sold 4,000, sometimes you lose track of what you know.
Sure.
And hard money is really simple. It's an asset-based loan based on today's value and what it's going to be worth after you're done fixing it up, and it's collateralized by the debt. And when we first started, you couldn't get a lot of hard money. It was done by a couple guys who had a couple people. The broker took 5, 6, 7 points up front. And now you've got a lot of national lenders. And you're a national lender. How many states are you licensed in?
So I think as of today's date, we're licensed in 42 states.
What's the name of your company?
Max Capital.
Okay. And why should someone, if they're looking for a hard money loan, go with Jason and Kearns Abrams?
Well, first, let's be clear. This is my wife's company. I flip the luxury houses, and I like to bring in all of the business for that company. But my wife is really the horsepower behind that, and you're gonna talk to her, I know, in a little bit. So they should come to us specifically because we have the best rates, the best terms, the best programs. We understand how to position them and their property in the best light possible to get them the most favorable terms imaginable.
Well, I think the reason that I asked you that, and I do agree that your wife's going to shed that light on it, because I think it's important when you have the person borrowing money and the person loaning money sleeping in the same bed, and you hear the feedback of like, what would be the perfect loan for me as a flipper? And I think that's what you guys have built out.
So it's really interesting that you say that. I mean, our houses, for as far as the lending was concerned, were definitely the crash test dummies.
Right.
We really dug in because our loans are so high dollar. The intricacy of that process is exponentially more difficult than the normal ones. So as we work through that process, we really created a situation for the normal borrower where their process is completely seamless.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is one of the things that you talked to me about doing, and I don't know if this is for everybody, but sometimes you'll stack the payments on the back end. Is that for everybody?
Sure. I mean, that's really what our best program is the payments are rolled into the loan, so you don't have to make any payments for a year. That goes doubly for the new construction loans where there's no payments for 2 years.
So you guys will loan on new construction?
Yes.
You guys will loan on, what will you guys loan on?
And 1 to 4 units.
1 to 4 units, new construction.
Correct.
And
all the way up to $5 million.
All the way up to $5 million. So how has it changed your business?
Oh, I couldn't have done any of this without my wife having Max Capital. I couldn't have done any of it. When we were at that point where I was telling you where the family shop had their money committed and we wanted to elevate, it was her that really thought about and went out and contacted the guys that we used to buy and sell non-performing loans with. And it turns out that they were raising capital to loan money, and she worked with them hand in hand to develop all of their programs and really got us that money to put us in the position to do all of these multi-million-dollar homes.
Yeah, you bragged on your wife a lot the other day when we were playing golf. You said Kearns got a deal done so quickly that the vice president or somebody from the company called her up and said, how'd you underwrite that loan? And I think that I want to be clear why I'm asking that question is there's a lot of dummies in the loan business. If you don't know how to package or process a loan the right way, it doesn't get approved.
For sure.
And so she has the ability to look at things from your point of view as the person borrowing the money, and from her point of view as the person getting them the money to get it approved.
For sure. I mean, the difference is, she's watched me go through this construction process.
Right.
Intimately. Like likes watching every day the money flying out the door.
Yeah.
And she has a really deep understanding of now how to stack that draw schedule, the bid. She's not a typical loan officer that just takes your bids and go, oh yeah, this is great. She looks through those and says, you're missing this, you're missing this, you're missing this. What are you going to do about this? And it allows the investor to kind of take a second look at their bid and say, oh wow, she's right. I do need to put this. And then she'll talk to them about where to put that in their draw schedule so that they don't hit a snag and need money when there's not money there for them.
Let's break down the draw schedule, because so many people, especially when you're new to flipping, if you don't set your draw schedule the right way, tell us how that can go wrong.
Oh, in a million different ways. So if you don't set your draw schedule correctly, you'll get to points in your build where you'll request money and
you don't have the money. Like
Right.
That's what I was getting at is like, I remember when in the beginning, if you don't front load your draw schedule,
it's maybe on the smaller houses, you can just say a word like front load. But as you get into the higher dollar homes, it's more sophisticated than that. Because you're not dealing with, I'm going to open this wall and I'm just going to put a beam there.
Yeah.
That's not how it's working. There's steps in that process that you have to kind of go through. And because she and the rest of our team have watched me with all of these houses, they understand all of that. So
I think the team's important here. Don't you have some family members working for you too?
We do. Yeah, we have our whole family in the office.
Yeah, so I think that's also like, if you're trying to get a loan, you can go through some of these big brands and you're not going to get any care.
Sure.
And that guy who's loaning you the money probably has never flipped a house. And I think
Almost 100% he's never.
probably has never flipped a house. And the rep has probably never flipped a house.
Never.
So there's no compassion, there's no empathy, and there's never somebody who's walked in their shoes.
Right. I can't tell you how many times we've had borrowers call us when they're in the middle of their build and they're running into a snag with this draw schedule. And either myself or Karis or my other son, Sam, who's in the office also, we understand how to help them work through that.
Cool. So what's next for Jason Abrams? You're 45 years old, looking good.
45.
I'm just messing with you. Sorry, I know you're 40.
Yeah. Well, why not?
Yeah, no.
I still feel like I'm 40.
No, you still act like it too, and that's what I like about you. I would never guess you're how old are you right now?
54.
54. You're still got a young heart. You're still hustling. You're still enjoying life. You got young kids.
Young kids.
You got a young wife, and you still like to work and hustle. So what's next for Jason?
I have a young, beautiful, smart wife.
That was all implied.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, 100%. They're going to see her next.
So what's next? So next for us, for sure, is Max Capital. We've set a North Star for where we want to be as a company. And so as far as business is concerned, that's where the primary focus is going to hit that North Star and doing everything we can to get there. I'll still do luxury flips, but the days of me trying to have 4 to 6 of them going at a time are over.
Is that stressful?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're just every piece of that build is custom or bespoke or however you want to say it.
Yeah.
Every inch of that build requires individual attention. And when you have 4 to 6 of those with all of that money just going one direction out the door all the time, it's very stressful.
If you were having your 18 to 30-year-old self listening on the other end of this podcast right now, what would the best piece of advice that you would give to them, like it's your son, so that they know what to do? Like, what would you go back and tell yourself to do differently than you've done before?
Well, I mean, I could tell you the advice that I give my son now, and that's know what you're doing before you do it. I mean, become an expert through knowledge or education or mentoring underneath someone before you go out and do it yourself. It's great. I mean, I have a friend of mine right now. Her first house flip was a $1.4 million purchase. She did the remodel and $2.2 million exit. And I really respect the courage that it took to do that. But if she would have mentored under somebody first, it would have helped her avoid a lot of the mistakes that she went through.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point, is that I got a guy, you just met him the other day, Braden.
Yeah,
he joined a bunch of coaching programs. I said, I'm looking for someone to run my business that's willing to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
Came in here, I'm teaching him everything I know. And I think that's so crucial. If you're listening right now and you have a job or you are not where you want to be, go work for someone. Go prove yourself.
Totally. Go work for them for free.
Work for them for free.
If you're living at your parents' house, go work for them for free.
Yeah, and if you're not, work for cheap. Work for the knowledge, and then be straight up with them. Hey, I want to do this on my own. Right. How do I get a piece of the business? Yeah. How do I prove myself to you? Most people want other people to run their companies, and if they don't, find another mentor that will.
It's funny. It's the exact same advice my dad gave me. He said he used to work for a guy named Bob Greenberg. That he said if he didn't have kids, he said he would offer to work for him for free for a year just to follow him around so he could learn what he knew.
I mean, who would work with Elon Musk for free? Oh. I mean, come on, right? All right, man. I know we're pressed for time, guys. I really appreciate you listening to this podcast, Jason. It's been fun This has been fun to have you in town. Jason just spent 4 days with us in Kansas City. What did you think about Kansas City?
Kansas City's cool. I've always loved it here. I made a lot of money here. I showed you the building that we bought several years ago, $16-12 grand.
Yeah.
We bought it the day we closed. Someone called us and offered us $100,000 more than we paid for it. It was the fastest money I'd ever made in my life.
You never forget those.
Never forget it. And it's funny, they finally did something with it. It's been over 10 years, and they finally did something with it.
Yeah. And what did you think about living on the farm for the last 4 days here?
It's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it makes you kind of rethink city life for sure.
Yeah, you're seeing some things that, like, when you're in the city, you're grinding, you're hustling, everybody's next to each other, so it's cool. Well, I appreciate you coming out here. Guys, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you get a hold of Max Capital. We'll put all the details. Can you drop the phone number, who they need to get a hold of?
Sure.
702-887-1800. And is there a website where they can apply on?
Yeah, themaxlending.com.
Themaxlending.com. We'll make sure to drop it. We'll tag you in the socials. Guys, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give this podcast a 5-star review. And make sure you start taking action investing in real estate. Peace. Hey, thank you so much for tuning into our podcast right now. I am so happy that you are here. You are in the right spot to be getting inspired by other people that have just achieved their goals so that you can achieve your goals. Do me a favor. Leave us a 5-star review. It really helps us grow. And give us comments and feedbacks. We read those. It helps us grow. The most important person in this podcast is the listener, right? And so if you give us your feedback, it will allow us to create a better podcast for you. And make sure you enjoy the show and leave us a 5-star review.